guys. So we are now at STEP in Dubai, and here with you, Anna Titova, co-founder of Telegram, and our guest, Jeremy Owyang, who is a partner at Blitzscale Ventures, and he came here from California, from San Francisco, which is capital of AI, and we're going to talk much about AI and Web3 too.
Excellent. Thank you for having me, Anna.
Yeah, great to have you here. So can you tell us about your background and how did you get into Visible?
Thanks. I've been an angel investor for about 7 years, and before that, I started some companies. I have been in Silicon Valley for 28 years and really been focused on technology. That's been my big thing on the new tech trends. And so I definitely evolved my career as a new tech trend comes. So I used to work in Web3, and then we saw the rise of AI. I said that's going to be really important. So I'm full-time focused on AI.
Yeah, so which year did you get into AI? Did you see it coming already before the release of ChatGPT?
Well, clearly in November 2022, we saw that GPT took the world by storm. 1 million users adopted in 5 days. That's incredible. We've never seen that level of adoption before. And there was a famous event that happened in March, about this time last year, called the Woodstock of AI. And 5,000 people showed up at the same event in San Francisco, and we all looked around at each other and said, wow, this is a movement. And at that point, at that event, at that moment, I knew I needed to invest full time into this market, and I could see that was critical. So I launched my event series called Llama Lounge, and then I started to spend time with the startups, and then I was an LP in Blitzscaling Ventures, and I became a GP to lead the AI fund, and we are investing in AI startups now.
Don't you feel now that there is like too much competition in AI? You mentioned during your speech that already over 12,000 of AI startups.
12,000, and there's 1,000 new AI startups birthing per month. And so that's not going to slow down for a few years. We're going to continue to see that level of growth. So it's really important as an investor to have a clear scorecard or a thesis on how you're actually going to be choosing which startups, and we have that. And we have a scorecard, and they could receive up to 100 points. They have to have 80 points or more. And we're looking at their business models for growth and spread. And this is what we're doing to ensure that these are the right startups to invest in. So that's a great question. More startups will come. Have to have a clear way to decide who's going to be the winner.
Into how many startups per month do you invest?
We don't invest in that many startups, so around 5 to 8 investments made per year. So our portfolio will have about 25 startups, so not that many out of that 12,000 or 20,000 in the market.
So it should be quite a thorough due diligence to one like that many applications.
Mostly the framework is there to field out and then identify who the winners are. And yes, that's going to be critical. And we're not looking for like just specific technology as the moat. We're looking for, do they have a business model that will spread so that they win most of their market and they have massive adoption. As an example, Web3, the clear leader for Web3 is Ethereum. They quickly spread, they have a grassroots community and developers. So we would score those features as being very high. Versus some of the other chains, they launched a coin or token, but they didn't have developers. They didn't have open source. They didn't have hackathons. They didn't have a developer management fund. They didn't have venture investing, and they didn't have a thought leader, Vitalik. So that's why Ethereum is the Web3 winner. Bitcoin is separate from that topic. Yeah.
And do you see any intersection between crypto and AI?
Very little at this time. I see what I'm seeing is many of the Web3 startups in San Francisco have shifted completely to AI, and many of the physical locations are now rebranded as from Web3 to AI. So there's been a real changeover in San Francisco. In fact, there's very few Web3 events anymore. There used to be quite a few. I actually was running the NFT San Francisco meetups. I was very involved in the community. But now it's just really about AI. Now, regarding product integration, one thing that I think we might see is like a proof of fact protocol where there's existing facts that are immutable and everybody agrees on them and they're on chain. You could reference that. And that might be a way to reduce hallucinations on fake AI. But other than that, I just don't see too much. One of the challenges with blockchain is that it's just not fast enough for the rapid transactions that are happening at AI. So that's just one issue that we see broadly in the market.
And don't you feel like AI market is overheated and overhyped now?
No, I don't. I think some of the startups are overvalued, yes, but I think that it's very clear that there's productivity gains for individuals, consumers, and big businesses, and we haven't even fully realized what those productivity gains are. So I don't think it's overheated. There is not one, there's not even $1 trillion company yet. There's multiple $1 billion companies. in AI. But until we start seeing multiple trillion, then I know that the market's not mature yet.
And as well, Sam Altman, co-founder of OpenAI, recently announced that he needs $7 trillion for a new venture for chips. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, well, you're very well informed. So that is quite a lot of money. I think I looked at the GDP, and that would be like the fourth largest GDP of any country or something like that. But to create the chip, well, okay, so today NVIDIA released their earnings report, and it was 4 times growth in the last year. And that's to make chips. And there's a 7th-month waiting period for chips. OpenAI needs so many chips, they need that to happen. There's also a political aspect on this, where America doesn't want to be dependent upon another country to make chips. As you know, they're mostly made in Taiwan. So the American government is most likely to help Sam fund a lot of those things, probably through a grant or some program like that. So when I saw Sam make that announcement looking for 5 to 7 trillion, I think he was talking to most Western governments.
Mhm.
That's
Well,
what I think.
actually, he came here last year too,
I
and
heard.
he was talking at World Government Summit
Yes,
too. And a lot of American founders coming to the Middle East, to Saudi, to UAE to seek for the funding here too.
that is absolutely true. In fact, a lot of the VCs come here for funding. We have many LPs from the Middle East region, and that is not uncommon. Let's also talk about Sam's WorldCoin project.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're tracking that, right? What do
Yeah.
you think? I'll just turn it on you.
Well, like I see that many have privacy concerns, but then
The eyeball
yes,
tracking.
yes.
Yeah.
On the crypto side, that's like it's too centralized in the hands of VCs, and doesn't really go to the community,
So I think
etc. But generally, the concept is interesting, but I'm still unsure about the privacy
I think
side
that's
of it.
the big, yeah. So privacy is the issue. I think they need that retina scanning in order to determine who is going to get those allocations, because you don't want the same person getting that airdrop, right, over and over.
Yeah.
So I can see why that's critical. I think what Sam is doing is looking forward that there's going to be significant social upheaval, because jobs will be lost, and people are going to be angry at OpenAI and him in particular. So he has to be ready to issue UBI to protect, frankly, society and himself. So I think that will be an interesting thing that will happen if it does.
So if many jobs will be lost or transformed in some way,
Yes,
so what's your recommendation for people? What should people do now? What should governments do as well?
it's challenging. So I don't even know how to train young kids. Like, I don't know which hard skills are going to matter. Like, sure, you should know how to program so you understand how to tell AI to program, but only to a certain point. They may not need a degree in programming. So hard skills, I'm just not sure. Soft skills are going to become very important. Empathy, relating to others. If we can have, the vision that I have is that AI does a lot of the laborious tasks that we don't want to do. So we can enjoy this beautiful day and hang out with our friends and do fun things. I think that will be a wonderful thing to happen. So it's unclear on how society will look in that way. So I have that utopian vision, but not everybody agrees that's where we're headed. So I get that.
So do you think AGI is coming soon?
AGI is coming, yes.
In how many years? What's
And
your prediction?
so I know some of the leaders at the foundational models, and it's not this year, it's not next year, it's in several to a decade. It's definitely going to happen in your lifetime. It's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, but now I see everybody overseas that people who know how to use AI, they will benefit and will be ahead. But for now, nobody really sees that big risks with AI that it will totally transform the jobs
It,
and replace the jobs.
I think there's going to be a lot of impacts to jobs. I think the forecasts show within the next decade, 30 to 40% of jobs will be severely impacted by AI exposure in some way or another. So it's really critical to understand those things. Um, I want to just, on my last point, just to bring up the point you brought up, how WorldCoin is centralized. AI is very centralized, and it's a complete change, like how the Web3 market was trying to be decentralized. So I think that is something that is a concern, right? There's a few powers that have a lot of that control.
Yeah, and what do you think about open source AI? Yes,
So open source AI makes a lot of sense, especially for corporates who want to train it on their own data, and for regions that want to train it on their specific language or their community or their culture. But in the end, closed source models have very rapid growth, and they can have more security features, but you have to trust that that centralized team is going to do it right. And that's probably going to result in a premium business model where you pay subscription. I think a lot of the world will be comfortable. I think the Western world will lean on premium version, where other parts of the market will be more rapidly adopting open source.
And what do you see the differences, for example, between San Francisco and here in the Middle East in the development of AI? And Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, last week told that he thinks that every region, every country should have their own
I saw
sovereign
that.
AI. What do you think about that?
Well, Jensen's very smart, and he is a billionaire, and I'm not. So he is. We certainly love what he's saying, but he's also selling some products that help
Yeah.
sovereign AI and individual AI. So he's trying to upend and go around the big software foundational models. And so if you notice around the time he said those things, Sam Altman says, I want to raise 7 trillion. Those two things happened at the same time in opposition, and they're directly related. So I think you need to understand I know you understand the politics of that. So um, what does that mean? It means that every region can have sovereign AI, and clearly UAE built Falcon, which has government support. So that's an opportunity. So I'm no expert on the MENA startup innovation, but I am an expert on San Francisco innovation. And the level of growth for AI is incredible. So there's 100 AI events per month. That's 3 per day typically. Even on the weekends, there's 2 hackathons per week. So that's, and usually a hackathon is 2 days, 200 developers. So that's 4 days out of the week that people are hacking and building. So there's no other place that is, I mean, how many Web3 hackathons are there a year? 10?
Just a few.
Yeah. So imagine 8 hackathons a month in San Francisco on AI. It's unprecedented. We've never seen this level of growth. So San Francisco is the capital of AI for the moment, but it doesn't mean other regions can't also participate and grow and be leaders.
And the last question,
Sure.
you made a tweet that now it's pretty like AI is the most rapidly growing industry.
Yes.
And it's pretty easy to start an AI company, but
Yep.
like what's needed for the success of AI company? You mentioned like venture backing from the right supporters, the right training data, and etc. And as well, you mentioned some more core criteria. So what are these secret core criteria?
You're so smart to ask. So the cost of entry of an AI startup is low. It's like $5,000. So here's some things that we would score high in our Blitzscaling scorecard. Does the startup have access to exclusive data? Maybe they have a contract with some of these big companies that are around us. Maybe they have a contract with the government of Dubai or UAE, and they have data nobody else gets access to that they can train their models on. So that's one. 2, are they in the market where you can quickly win over 50% of that market? Or is it just going to be you only can win up to like 10% of that market? We're not interested in that. 3, does the startup have network effects? For example, Ethereum has tremendous network effects. As more people own Ethereum, more people want it. As more developers use it, more modules and apps are built on that adapt. So there's direct network effects. So we would score those high. In Web 2, a social network has incredible network effects. The more people that create profiles, the more people that want to use it. So we score that high. Number 4 is product-led growth or viral growth. Does the product itself naturally spread? Like once you use it, you tell other people, you show other people, and you invite others to use it. So an app like Slack or DocSend or a photo sharing app has high viral capability, so we would score that high. And then 5, do you have a distribution channel that somebody will help grow that and spread that? That would score high. So those are the actual things we're looking for and would score high. And that matches the Blitzscaling book, which Reid Hoffman and Chris Ye wrote, which was the Stanford class. Anna, thank you for your time.
Thank you too.
Great questions. You really listened. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you too. It will be great to have you maybe again on our channel.
I would love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.